Mel, thanks so much for speaking to us. Just to begin, if you could tell us a little bit about what you were hoping to get from this conference.
I think the main thing is because it's an international conference, it provides a wealth of international practitioners and both probably cutting-edge policy work or cutting-edge community work, but also on the ground, this grassroots knowledge, which is so critical to the work that we're doing here in Vietnam. So I was hoping to connect with lots of people, hear about other opportunities around the globe in terms of community responses to climate change, and see if there was an alignment with some of the work we're doing here or a possibility to transfer some of that knowledge. So yeah, that's what brought me.
And you mentioned the work that you're doing in Vietnam. Could you just outline a couple of the projects that you feel might be relevant to this conference?
Sure. At the moment I'm doing climate change advisory work and working with commune level, so community and village level. And the work that we're doing is in adaptation. So we're looking at some of our communities which are extremely vulnerable because they're in flood-prone zones. So they have sea intrusion to deal with as well as freshwater flooding from rivers. And looking to change infrastructure where we can, and also educate communities and help communities form intra-commune networks, as well as work with current provincial level flood and storm control committees and village leaders who hold a lot of historical information on events. And then the other piece that we do besides adaptation work is on mitigation, so looking to avoid or reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So we've started working on some biogas projects at the moment, and we've piloted about 250 of those. And word of mouth has really caught on and they've become very popular. What we need to do now is actually look at the long-term viability of those domestic systems. Certainly we know that we've reduced greenhouse gases, not through measurement but through assumption, because people are no longer using natural gas and traditional firewood to the extent that they were, which is a good thing. And they have secure, clean energy even during times of events, which is a good thing as well.
Are there any kind of key lessons or themes that you're going to take away from this conference and be able to apply to your work, do you think?
Let's see. I think that getting all of the stakeholders involved and looking at this issue of intergenerational equity, as well as self-sustained strategies and programs for communities to own, so whereby we're acting as enablers rather than actual deliverers of programs, is pretty critical. So we've heard that mentioned a couple of times. And how to get some of these program elements into a policy level, so how to connect and close that gap between national targets and policies and some of the ecosystem changes we're experiencing on the ground, which may not be accredited so far in some of the current plans.
And just finally then, have there been any particular sessions here that you've enjoyed or that you know have been really useful for you?
Yeah, actually I really liked the first session, which was on communications, and that's probably because I've done a lot of that work in the past. And it's always the weakest link in most programs, so I'm glad that there was so much emphasis put on that. And the panellists were all really excellent in terms of their experiences. So that was a fun panel. The other one was the Children's Fun and Games panel, which is, you know, it was all about how to educate with kids, but also how to have kids educate us in terms of their learning opportunities. That was a lot of fun, and I'm teaching a classroom in a couple of weeks, so that'll be really useful. And then the last one was the one we just heard, which was on adaptive ecosystems management. And it's an emerging area, and it's got a lot of uncertainties in it in terms of market ability to adapt to communities owning their own assets. So I found that really fascinating.
It sounds like it's been a good couple of days for you. Mel, thanks very much for speaking to us.
You're welcome.